You should just know that she is a bit of a brat. I really think that it was just a perfect act of evil that was almost executed in broad daylight.
Rises up. Now, he didn't do it himself exactly. He hired a badass named Brian Friedman. And he has badass women like me defending.
Blake Lively is in full meltdown mode after the judge exposed her entire scheme, armed with damning receipts from none other than Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens.
Is an egotistical bully. And she was such a brat that she wanted to control every scene, wanted to see all the dailies, wanted to do her own cut and did her own cut of the movie. All this is very unusual for just an actress in the film.
She thought she could take down Justin Baldoni with a wave of false accusations. But what she didn't count on was that Baldoni had real support, not just from fans, but from influential voices ready to defend him.
Very sarcastic and snarky and just didn't come across well.
Blake thought she could cry her way through court, play the victim, and walk out crowned as Hollywood's next feminist icon. Instead, she's neck-deep in a scandal of her own making, and not even her A-list privilege can save her now.
She has proven herself not to be a kind person, okay?
Blake thought she could cry her way through court, play the victim, and walk out crowned as Hollywood's next feminist icon. Instead, she's neck-deep in a scandal of her own making, and not even her A-list privilege can save her now.
Shocked at how many lies were told.
She came for Justin Baldoni, the director of It Ends With Us, with accusations so extreme they bordered on fiction, harassment, misconduct, and even claims he planted media smears against her.
So her reputation, you could say, last year completely tanked. And it didn't seem like it was going to be salvageable because that's how the internet works. Once they start to see who you are, they don't tend to forgive you.
But here's the catch, her story is collapsing faster than Gossip Girl's final season. Blake assumed that being America's favorite blonde meant she could toss out pity party claims and the world would blindly back her. Wrong. Candace Owens went nuclear, dropping a trove of metadata and receipts showing that Blake orchestrated the lawsuit in advance. Not only did she allegedly stage the legal ambush, she also manipulated the media to shape the narrative before the first court filing even hit.
Massive bitch.
If Blake Lively had put half as much effort into her acting as she did into this courtroom circus, maybe we wouldn't still remember her best role as the girl in designer coats narrating blog posts.
I walked you through the New York Times metadata and showed you that this woman had posted on X and essentially just like blared it out to the...
Now here's the best part. In classic diva fashion, Blake actually tried to slap Baldoni's team with a gag order, as if this were some scripted show where she controls the dialogue. The judge not having it. Gag order denied. The evidence against her is so massive, the court wants everything laid bare.
She has proven herself not to be a kind person, okay? And that's largely due to the fact that she is a modern feminist, which means that she grew up wealthy, her life has been perfect, and so she has to create struggle where they're just...
And with Baldoni now hitting her back with a $400 million defamation lawsuit, Blake's finally realizing this isn't just PR spin, it's a financial disaster she can't escape. Even worse? Hollywood, the media, and social platforms that usually rally behind women crying foul are suddenly dead silent.
Friedman says, due to public interest in this case, we have now stumbled upon this, and we're therefore amending this because we think that it shows that she was plotting before.
And the public? Even more brutal. Social media has officially renamed her fake Lively, tearing apart every contradiction in her story like it's sport. And the icing on this scorched cake? Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift, once her most powerful allies, are now full-blown PR liabilities.
A track record of being difficult to work with, well-established before Justin Baldoni was ever in the picture.
But here's the kicker, Blake didn't just lie about Baldoni. She built an entire fake narrative, with help from the media. And the person who blew the lid off? None other than Candace Owens.
And in Blake's Titanic, you know, the ship that not even God could sink, is sinking. It's going down because God is God, okay?
In what might be the most humiliating reveal of the decade, Candace Owens dropped a bombshell. Blake's team had already coordinated with the New York Times to smear Baldoni before the lawsuit was even filed. This wasn't a cry for justice, it was a premeditated hit job.
Judge to see our side of things. Girl, goodbye. Like, just goodbye. It's like the fakest thing ever. She's now fake Lively, crying Reynolds.
It was a strategic takedown. Metadata from the NYT article proved it was written in advance, a fully planned hit piece, not journalism. And when did it publish? December 21st, 2020, perfectly timed with Blake's legal filing. A coincidence? Yeah, okay.
I just wanted to say that we should be celebrating this as a major win because we were the ones who dug all of this up like psychos because we have been obsessed with this case.
Owens didn't come empty-handed. She brought a 168-page dossier packed with text threads, emails, and receipts that exposed Blake's contradictions and blatant media manipulation. The deception was so extreme, it made Amber Heard's courtroom performance look restrained.
On Friday, Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, amended their lawsuit against Blake Lively, and they included the New York Times data.
Imagine trying to pull off a high-stakes Hollywood takedown and getting exposed by a talk show host with a folder of screenshots. Blake really thought she was playing 4D chess. Turns out, she was using a dollar store board and missing half the pieces.
Case from Baldoni. It is 224 pages, longer than the original 179-page complaint. It is now a consolidated action, meaning that Baldoni's lawsuit against Lively and Ryan Reynolds in the New York Times and her suit against him will all be joined together as one. This was approved by the court.
At this point, it's gone from messy to catastrophic. The judge is airing everything. The public knows she lied. The media is scrambling to walk back their early support. And Baldoni's lawsuit? It's only gaining momentum. Blake has no defense. No way to bury the evidence, and no chance of escaping this without a career-killing fallout.
Now, I want to make something very clear to you. She filed a complaint at first, not a lawsuit. Okay, so on December 20th, she had filed a complaint with the Californian Civil Rights Department.
Let's be real, this is what happens when fame gets weaponized. Blake lived her career being worshipped, adored, and treated like Hollywood royalty. She thought she was bulletproof. She assumed no one would dare question her. She believed Baldoni would just crumble while she took over his movie and spun the narrative to her liking.
Lively would have expected. Instantly, Hollywood floods in. Me Too has been resurrected. They're giving statements. Amber Heard comes out of the woodwork and gives a statement, which I feel like after allegedly pooping on Johnny Depp's bed, she should maybe always sit this one out, but she didn't. She's like, nope, I'm with her. We're all with her. But actually, quite remarkably, the internet for the first time had a bit of pause. And one of the things that they had a bit of pause about was, why did she not file a lawsuit?
Blake Lively stormed into court, convinced she could silence everyone with a last-minute gag order. She thought she could shut down Baldoni's legal team the same way she pressured the press. But the judge wasn't buying it. He shut it down. Cold. She wanted total control, to play the fragile victim while painting Baldoni as the monster. But once the receipts hit the courtroom, her act unraveled faster than her movie career.
The public took her side, but I think everybody is still a little PTSD from the Amber Heard turd, and they're going, okay, I'm just going to wait and actually see how this thing plays out. And it's a good thing that they did, okay? Because then Justin Baldoni responded in a very big way to this law.
Blake never expected Candace Owens' metadata receipts to be formally admitted as courtroom evidence. She thought she could cry her way out of this mess, but now, the court is forcing her to face the truth she desperately tried to twist. The judge flat out rejected her pathetic plea for privacy. And honestly, what privacy? Blake was the one who ran to the press first, orchestrated a smear campaign, and now that it's crashing down around her, she wants the silence she never offered anyone else.
These files provide a lot more purported material in this story that we need to go through. And to be clear, there are things in this timeline that are more specific or not laid out per se in the amended complaint, but they could very well be used at an upcoming trial if this goes to trial. It's currently scheduled for March 2020.
Even legal analysts are ripping her case to shreds, calling it one of the most embarrassing backfires in Hollywood legal history. This wasn't just a courtroom loss, it was the total annihilation of her credibility. Behind closed doors, insiders say Blake is spiraling, crying, panicking, in full meltdown mode. The Golden Girl mask? Gone. The cool, confident A-lister persona? Obliterated. And the more she tries to rewrite the narrative, the worse it implodes.
the victim and like these horrible men did something to me. And I personally did not feel that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds had the star power to get the New York Times to risk their professional reputation to help take down Justin Baldoni.
And as if things weren't humiliating enough, let's talk about her loyal husband, Ryan Reynolds, or as the internet's now calling him, Crying Reynolds. Ryan and Baldoni weren't strangers, they were actual friends. They hit fundraisers together, did events, and Reynolds even publicly praised him. But then, like clockwork, the moment Blake filed her lawsuit, Baldoni magically turned into a villain.
Also really amazing about it is he even says we now have a concrete timeline, which we believe implicates Blake Lively.
Ryan didn't just quietly back away, he went full attack dog, calling Baldoni a predator and rallying Hollywood against him. One moment he was praising the guy, and the next he was leading the pitchfork mob. What changed, Ryan? Oh right. Your wife needed a villain, so you became the supporting actor in her fantasy.
Monday, they're going to court because two things. Blake is trying to gag them. I don't think that's going to go through. How can you try to say you're playing this in the press when the entire reason we got here was because you tried to play this in the press? Like you went to the New York Times to try to take him down and to set a public narrative.
It gets worse. Leaked messages show Ryan's sudden betrayal in black and white. One day, he's calling Baldoni one of the most talented filmmakers, and the next, he's slandering him like he's auditioning for a courtroom soap opera. Social media torched him for the hypocrisy. Now, he and Blake are both getting roasted together.
Justin didn't harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress.
And it's not just Twitter trolls having a field day, Hollywood insiders are mocking them, too. Rumors are swirling that Ryan and Blake even tried sneaking anti-Baldoni jokes into Deadpool's scenes. Yes, seriously. They were so obsessed with humiliating him, they allegedly tried to make him a punchline in a billion-dollar franchise. That's not just petty, that's career suicide, and now it's boomeranging back.
That's what happens to you, right? You run into somebody who seems like a witch who will take advantage of you and hurt you until finally even that kind of a guy rises up. Now, he didn't do it himself.
Ryan's sudden flip on Baldoni was so suspicious, even his own fans started questioning him. The guy who built his whole image on sarcasm and authenticity suddenly can't handle heat? He had no problem mocking Baldoni in public, weaponizing his platform to amplify Blake's bogus narrative. But now that the internet's turning on him, suddenly he wants out of the drama?